Good morning, everybody. Thank you. We are here live without a net for our very first Real Estate Unlocked podcast. I am your host, president and owner of Cutler Real Estate, Andy Camp, and I'm really excited about this. This is our brand new format. We're moving away from the Zoom slideshows that we've done for over 5 years and moving into more of a conversational format, a podcast format that we're going to be doing on a monthly basis. And my goal in all of this is to bring more voices, more of the people that are being successful at Cutler Real Estate to you to understand all of the tools and opportunities we have here at Cutler Real Estate. So, we believe that real estate isn't about following the status quo. It's about understanding strategy, timing, and what's truly best for the individual client. One of the topics that generates more debate in our industry than almost anything else is exclusive listings and off MLS inventory. Some see them as an innovation, while others see it as controversial or breaking the rules. Too often, the conversation is driven by emotion instead of education. Today's episode is about changing all of that. I'm excited about having somebody that's passionate about exclusive listings and how exclusive listings are part of an overall marketing strategy that's making a tremendous difference to their business. I'm joined by George Pattison, the partner in the Pattison Group with founder Susie Pattison, his wife, who is, to say the least, a huge advocate of Cutler exclusives and incorporating them into their overall marketing strategy. So welcome, George.
Hey, thanks, Andy. Thanks for having me.
So today we're going to look at the fact that we believe that sellers deserve options, and a one-size-fits-all listing strategy is not going to continue to give our sellers the options they deserve, and it's not going to allow our realtors to be the most competitive in a shifting marketplace. I'm going to discuss with George about the who, what, when, where, and how of exclusive listings and incorporating Cutler exclusives as a competitive advantage now and in the future. So let's get started. You ready?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
So before we get into how you're incorporating Cutler exclusives into you and Susie's marketing strategy, I wanted to just get a little bit of background on your journey into real estate and what you did prior to joining Susie in the Pattison Group.
Sure. I think first of all, my journey into real estate started when we built our house in 2011. This is our last house, but I got to see this process from really concept, construction to closing table, and really seeing each phase of it, seeing the foundation go in, seeing the framing, seeing the electrical and the plumbing, and seeing it all come together. I was at that house every single day. And I think what really that was really what fostered a passion for houses and real estate. And so we built a house in 2011. I think it was about 2013. I actually looked into leaving my job and becoming a realtor. At that time, I think we were talking about having kids, and it just felt like a big risk at the time. Changing jobs, wanting to have kids, needing that income, that kind of thing. So I kind of tabled it. Didn't go into real estate and stuck with my full-time retail job. So to kind of dovetail into that, my background is in retail.
Okay.
I worked in retail in Columbus for most of that, but 18 years in retail as apparel retail. And I think that there are so many commonalities between retail and real estate that I didn't know it was preparing me for this job.
So give me an example of what you take from your retail experience and how that's helped you be so successul in your real estate career.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think there's a lot of fundamental business strategies with both jobs. I think in real estate, they talk about location. In retail, it was right product, right time, right price. And I think we take a lot of that to our listings. And in fashion retail, where I was working in apparel, it was about fabric, it was about fit, and it was about fashion details. And I think that's what people are looking for when they go into a house. And on the buy side, is they're looking for what are the finishes, how updated is the house, how big is the house? Like they're doing a lot of the same things. So I think,
is it a fit for their lifestyle?
Is it a fit for lifestyle? No pun intended. Right?
Yeah.
It's so there's a lot of commonalities I think between retail and real estate that prepped me for this. I've got a marketing background from college, and I think Ryan can tell you we obsess over our marketing details because that's our brand, like we were talking about earlier today. And those are things the customers see. And I think we take the approach, because we did this in retail, is you put the customer first and you think about what does the customer see? What's the first impression that's going to make? And when I was in retail, we put our best clothes on the front and forward table. And so in our job, it's like, well, we want to put our best foot forward, right? And we want to put our best photos up first. We want to make our description something that the first sentence is going to be impactful. Like, what sets this house apart from others? In high school, I was in journalism, and we'd always talk about don't bury the lead. And you want to make sure that people might not read past that first sentence if that first sentence doesn't catch them, doesn't hook them.
Sure.
And so we always want to call out what are the aspects about this house that sets it apart. What's something that people are going to see here that they don't see elsewhere? And we really try to, when we go into our listing appointments, explain this is our marketing strategy, and we're going to hit you from all different angles. We're going to do print materials, we're going to do social media, we're going to do drones, 3D tours. But we take that same approach to every listing, whether it's 200,000 or 2 million, every listing gets that same approach. And that approach, I think, has proven results. And I think when you can do it and repeat it over and over again, something, again, we've learned in retail or in marketing, in my background, then you can get proven results by doing the same approach over and over again.
So the consistency in your approach is in and of itself a differentiator compared to some of your competition.
I think so. I think consistency is key.
So when it comes to off MLS listings, when were you first introduced to office exclusives or off MLS inventory?
Yeah, so day one. And so we were talking about real estate. When I joined real estate, it was October of 2023. Susie was new to Cutler in 2023, and her business took off. And she was basically like, I need help. I need support. If I'm not going to hire you, I'm going to hire somebody else. And I was not going to let that happen. I was like, I'm going to work here. I've been passionate about this as well. And I think I learned from her kind of just from like dinner time conversations. We take a nightly walk together. And I was always kind of like listening to what she was saying and picking things up and bouncing ideas off of each other. And it kind of just snowballed into what we do today. But to say that, answer your question, exclusive listings is something she was doing before I even started. And I think that's a page she got from Beautech and Rough, because they were sharing a lot of listings within their office before they were with Cutler. And I think that's something she just thought of as this is a smart strategy to start sharing listings and networking listings with other top agents ahead of time. And as soon as you get that listing paperwork signed, start working it, start networking it, start sharing with other top agents. Don't just keep it in tight grasp. Like, you want to get that out there as if it was your own house.
Well, and you mentioned that if it was your own house, and I love that consumer first perspective, because if you're looking at how am I going to serve the client as if it was myself, then it goes without saying that you'd want as many options as possible.
No doubt.
And you want a professional that's going to walk through the options and give you a multi-tiered approach to maximizing price and your go-to market strategy.
Exactly right. And we think of exclusive listings, Andy, as pre-market marketing, right? It's the coming soon before the coming soon.
Okay.
And so exclusive listings can be shown off market. They can also not be shown off market. They could just be as simple as alerting other Cutler agents we have a listing coming. And I think when you do that, you can start to plan ahead. Like, if you have access or knowledge that a listing is coming and it might be a fit for your client, you can start to plan ahead. Because a lot of people have kids' activities, they take trips, whatever it might be, and you say, hey, look, if we know this house is coming, we can start to get ahead of it, plan ahead, get our ducks in a row. Maybe it's pre-approvals, maybe it's clearing our calendar or whatever it might be to figure out when we can see that property. You could maybe see it off market, but again, you could see it when it goes to market, but at least you have that knowledge ahead of time and you're not just seeing it like, a lot of times coming soon periods might only be 2, 3, 4 days. You might have 2, 3, 4 weeks on an exclusive listing to really get your ducks in a row and prepare for that listing when it's ready.
So it sounds like you feel that employing an office exclusive, a Cutler exclusive strategy also helps buyers.
100%.
So tell me a little bit more about how that helps buyers as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you kind of boil it down, right, it's a seller's market and there's not a ton of inventory, right? So we want access to inventory. And I think if you were to say to a buyer, would you rather work with an agent that has access to just MLS listings, or would you rather work with a buyer's agent that has access to off-market listings as well? And I think every time we share an off-market listing, our clients are like, thank you so much for sharing this, because it's an opportunity to maybe get into a house without a ton of competition. You might not be having to go over the list price. You might not be up against 10, 20, 30 offers. So it's really a chance, I think, to say, look, we have this exclusive chance to get this house without having to get into a bidding war. And I think buyers are skeptical of that right now when it's a seller's market.
That's good.
So it definitely helps buyers. And I think it makes us look smart, right? It looks like we're networking with other agents. We're using our brokerage of 400 agents to share ideas and share houses and share listings. And we're preparing our buyers. And we had, I think, 3 off-market deals this last year with other Cutler agents because of this.
So, there's a lot of confusion because, just a few years ago, there was a lot of talk, and there's been a lot of talk in the industry, over the years of pocket listings. Mm-hmm. So share with me your view of what the difference between a Cutler exclusive listing and a pocket listing is.
Well, I think maybe it's some verbiage there, that's some connotation. But I really think that an exclusive listing is just an option, like you mentioned. It's a pre-market strategy. It's a coming soon before the coming soon. It's just giving everybody a heads up that listing is coming. And I think a big misnomer is, do you have to allow off-market showings if you're doing an exclusive listing? The answer is no. You could be still preparing that listing. You don't have to have professional photos to put it up as an exclusive listing. And I think that that's one huge thing about it is, when you put it on exclusive listings, you can take a photo from the auditor's site. You can take a photo from Google Earth. You can snap a photo from a listing appointment. You could do a number of things to get a photo up there, and you could be working behind the scenes to get the professional photos, the drone shots, the 3D tours, these types of things. You could be painting walls, right? You could be tearing out carpet. I mean, you could be doing any number of things behind the scenes and still marketing the property. I think that's what's the beauty of exclusive listings, is you can be doing all that stuff, but from day one, you can start marketing it without having all that work done yet.
And when you say marketing, testing a price is also part of your pre-marketing strategy.
Yeah, so going back to retail, one thing we used to always do is we would focus group. We get a new product, we get a new price point, whatever it might be. We would bring in maybe 20 prospective buyers or clients or customers in that case and say, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on price? What are your thoughts on the product? The hand feel of the fabric, the fit of the clothes, like all these things. We would test all of it before we went to market, because we could say, we know how the customer is going to respond. In a smaller way, we can scale that, right? We might have 20, prospective buyers coming in or customers coming in, but we know that if 19 out of 20 of them are responding favorably, well, then by and large, it's probably going to be a success in the store.
Sure.
So I think what the exclusive listings is perfect for is, if you do allow off-market showings, you might get feedback from other Cutler agents that say, hey, your price is way too high. They might say, your walls are pink and blue and green, and you need to paint them all white. Or they might say, this carpet is terrible and needs to be torn out, and you've got hardwoods under there. Why wouldn't you refinish those? You could get feedback that you could then take to your client and say, hey, before we go to market, we should probably address these 2 or 3 issues, because then we're doing all that work, getting that work done before we even go to market, and we're not building days on market.
Sure.
So getting that feedback from other agents is huge. But I also think it's a chance to potentially get a premium price. So we've done a couple broker exclusives where it's the highest price home in the neighborhood, and the comps don't really support the price that we want to list it for, because maybe our seller has over improved the home. It's fantastic. It's perfect. It's turnkey. It's updated to the 9s. And we use it as a way to say, if you want this house, here's your chance to buy it without competition and getting bid up. But we're going to try this price because we know that this is the highest price in the neighborhood. I think Clara Capani used to call them cream puffs, right?
Yeah.
We've had some cream puffs. And I think that when you have those, you can really give your seller a shot to get that price. If you're networking with other agents and other top agents at this brokerage and outside the brokerage, to say, here's your chance to get this house. This is a premium house. We're not marketing it yet. Because I think when you have a house that's on the market and you're building days on market, and we were kind of joking about this earlier,
right.
DOM or days on market, it's really death of MLS listings.
Right.
And I think that the longer you sit, the less likely you're going to get that list price. And so,
because now you're playing defense.
You're playing defense.
You kind of went in. You didn't have a lot of comps. Maybe it's
right.
aspirational pricing. You don't really know. And you're coming in, and now you're having to explain yourself. You're having to explain your pricing strategy. You're having to explain, your condition, all of those things, which puts your seller at a disadvantage.
100%. I think it almost kind of ties back to the eBay strategy. we were talking about this earlier too. It's like
You
can bid up a product on eBay,
right,
and see what happens, or you can do the buy now. And this strategy is almost like your buy now strategy. You're not necessarily getting it bid up. We're asking for this price, and the hope is that you pay it, or we're going to go to market. So you got an alternative there for your seller to say, if we don't get the price that I want, I'll try the market, but I'm going to try to get this price. And for the buyer, you're like, I've got a chance to at an exclusive listing that maybe other people don't see, and I don't have to go over ask. I don't have to compete against all these other offers.
I want to go back to something you just said, George. I think is interesting. So you talked about networking in exclusive listing within Cutler Real Estate, but also with other top producers.
Correct.
So
on a one-on-one basis, that's key.
Yeah, it is key. And I think that's one of the biggest misnomers with exclusive inventory is that you cannot let anybody outside of the brokerage know that this is available or this is coming to marketplace. You want to tell me a little bit about, and us a little bit about the difference between networking versus publicly marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they say your network is your net worth, right?
Right.
I think it's important to have a great network of agents within Cutler because we've got some top producing agents, but also top producing agents outside of Cutler, because the more agents you can share listings with, off-market listings with, the more they'll share with you. And I think that that's a huge strategy for us. We get them all the time from agents outside our brokerage, even, and they're like, hey, do you have a buyer? Usually they're premium listings, but they might not always be. Do you have a buyer for a house that's coming in Upper Arlington? We do a lot of our business in Upper Arlington. So yeah, chances are we might have.
When we were talking earlier that it really is more of an old-fashioned analog solution in the digital world. In any kind of short inventory, the better your network and the more professional you are among the co-broke community, the more opportunities that your professionalism is going to create in terms of access to inventory and networking one-on-one about just putting transactions together and serving the needs of buyers and sellers.
Exactly right. They say that other agents aren't your competition, they're your network. And if you're collaborating with other agents, you're building that network to have access. And I think as long as we are in a seller's market, which we are because we have 2 months of inventory here in Columbus, neutral market's 5 or 6 months, you want access to that supply, right? Demand is exceeding the supply, on paper. And I think that having access to supply sets you apart. And I think one thing that we do in all of our listing appointments is we say, here is the process, as we talked about. Here are your options. We're going to put your house on, or start marketing your house day one as an exclusive listing. We're going to get photos. We're going to do whatever work needs to get done. We're going to then post as a coming soon on the MLS if it doesn't sell. And most of the listings are going from exclusive listings to the MLS, but sometimes they're not if they're open to off-market showings at a premium price and whatever it might be.
So using an office exclusive is not mutually exclusive to MLS listings in traditional.
Correct. Absolutely.
So do you think that's a once again another misconception in terms of a multi-tiered strategy versus off-market listings only and one size fits all?
It's not an either-or proposition, right? I don't think you have to say, hey, we're only going to do a broker exclusive versus an MLS listing. I think it's a lot of times the exclusive listing leads to an MLS listing. And there's a chance that it sells as an exclusive listing. Like maybe there's a price that they want to get. If somebody's going to give me my price, I'll sell it to them.
Sure.
And I think that there's cases where the exclusive listing is the best way. And I think when you go to your listing appointments, it's really crucial to ask the seller, what is your priority? Is your priority top dollar, or is your priority ease of sale or convenience of sale? And we've had cases where maybe our sellers are a little older and it's inconvenient for them to get out of the house or clean their house or tidy it up before showings or open houses. We've had it where, maybe somebody has pets or maybe they're a smoker or whatever it might be, and there might be smells with the house and they're like, I don't really want a lot of people coming through my house. It could be any number of reasons why an exclusive listing might be the best way for them. But we like to give them the options and explain it all from the beginning. And one thing we always do in our listings is say, we're going to market your house from day one. We're going to give you that broker exclusive with the exclusive right to sell paperwork.
So you present both at the same time?
At the same time. And we get it done immediately. And it's one more click on .loop, right, to sign that form. But it allows us to market the property from day one. And we have won listings that way because they're like, well, other agents aren't marketing my property until it goes coming soon or active on the MLS. We're like, but you've just wasted 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe it's even months,
right,
of not marketing the property. And we go back to that and we say, what would you do if it was your house? What would we do if it was our house? And if we treat every listing as if it was our own house, you better believe I'm telling my neighbors, I'm telling my friends, I'm telling other agents, I'm telling everybody in the world that our house is coming. because I want as many eyeballs on my listing as possible. And I want as many of those eyeballs to translate into people walking through that door.
Well, it's interesting because up until when we formalized Cutler exclusives and having the ability to showcase Cutler exclusives company-wide, I talked a lot about the fact that the only person that can't market your property is the listing agent.
Right.
The buyer's agent can go see the property. The buyers can talk about it. The sellers can talk about it. The inspector can talk about it. The lender can talk. Everybody else can talk about it except the listing agent, who's the most equipped to go and market and meet the fiduciary duties.
Right?
It does seem backwards.
Yeah. So you talked about fiduciary duties, though. I think that thinking about that again, as you're the seller, and if you put yourself in the seller's shoes, what would you do? What would you do if it was your house? And I think if you take that approach to every one of your listings and you have a consistent, repeatable approach, you're going to get the best results.
Well, and that's one of the things as an industry that I think is a huge opportunity for our realtors and for Cutler Real Estate in general. But it takes a little bit of education because be careful. Consumers don't know what they don't know, right? And so there's so many agents out there that are not presenting a seller or feel they can't present a seller with all of their marketing options for whatever the case. So their broker might be misinformed. They may want to keep it all to themselves. There's a lot of different reasons why, but the sellers don't know whether you're fulfilling your fiduciary duty or not.
Right.
And I have a very strong opinion, and I think you share this, that in order to fully fulfill your fiduciary responsibility, we got a siren in the background. Once again, we're live. In order to fulfill your fiduciary responsibility, you have to offer every option to the seller to successfully market their home.
And Andy, we have never had a seller say no.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you do it? There's really no downside. We've had sellers say we don't want people to come in until it's an active market listing. But nobody has said, don't market my property right away.
So let me ask you this, because this leads into my next question. So are Cutler exclusive listings a detriment to consumers?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think it's a win-win for everybody. We talked about for sellers, you look smarter because you are marketing the property day one. You're maybe getting feedback on what they can do differently as far as updating the house, updating the price, whatever it might be without building days on market or death of MLS listings, as we talked about. For a buyer, you're showing them that we have access to all these listings that other buyers agents don't have. And I think that's a very unique differentiator for Cutler agents, and a competitive advantage is that we have access to that. If people are going to use the exclusive listings tool, if we can really build that out, we have a huge book or access of listings that haven't even hit the market yet. It makes us look so much better, so much smarter to our client. I think that's really the goal.
Yeah.
And then I think that third piece is to other agents and collaborating with other agents. There's an adage that says the bottom agents compete with each other, but the top agents collaborate with each other.
That's true.
And I think that collaboration is key. We've got top agents here at Cutler, and I think it's really important that we collaborate, and that's why we're in this brokerage.
Yeah, and we're going to get a little bit to, you take it one step further. Before we started recording today, you think every Cutler agent should be utilizing Cutler exclusive on all their listings, right?
100%. It should be a best practice. I think if you are going to send somebody an exclusive listing document to sign, send them the broker exclusive waiver form as well, and just say, this is kind of our standard. This allows us to market your property day one, and we're going to do so because we think it's going to give you the best chance of selling your house at the highest price. And that's really everyone's fiduciary duties, right? Is to get their seller the best price and sell their house.
Sell your house, most amount of money, least amount of hassle, and the least amount of time.
Exactly right. That's the perfect scenario. So I think that exclusive listing option gives us the best chance of doing so. And if we do it with every listing, think about this, Andy. We have 400 agents here.
Yeah.
If every single person had one listing they put on there, that's 400 off-market exclusive listing opportunities that we can shop from and share with our clients. We have 15 on there right now.
Well,
so there's a huge opportunity.
That's what I was talking about with the force multiplier. If you do it, if maybe 4 or 5 people do it, then we might have 50 exclusive listings on an annual basis. But last year we listed 2,000 homes company wide. So you think about 2,000 exclusive listings that could be for a day, or the example you shared with me is 5 months.
Yeah.
The opportunity it creates by incorporating this strategy just as a standard of practice is tremendous.
Tremendous. And think about how many of those deals could be in-house Cutler transactions with other Cutler agents Because as we talked about earlier too, would you rather work with a color agent or an agent from a different brokerage? And I think that those transactions typically go smoother. The communication's typically better. And I think it's a win-win for everybody.
So is there any listing, whether it be price point or condition, that wouldn't be eligible or not eligible, wouldn't be a good fit for a Cutler exclusive?
I honestly can't think of a reason why you wouldn't do it.
Well, because if it's condition, then it levels off on price.
Correct.
If it's an aspirational price or a cream puff, as Clara calls it, then you're going to get feedback of whether
it's overpriced or not.
Overpriced or there's available buyers.
Absolutely. And I think there's so many wins, so many things to gain from testing. It's almost like a testing ground, like we talked about focus grouping. To get that information and apply it without doing the days on market is so critical. You're almost getting a second chance at your listing by doing the exclusive listing, then going on the MLS. If it doesn't sell during the exclusive listing period, that's okay. But maybe you've incorporated feedback and made your listing stronger by incorporating feedback and getting some of that information from other agents and then going live on the market.
Well, I think that the assumption is that the majority, once again, if I could wave my magic wand as a goal for 2026, looking back this time next year, and having seen 1,500, 1,800 listings have gone through for a period of time as a Cutler exclusive, I would predict that the majority of those won't sell during the exclusive listing period. Most of them will probably transition to, that multi-tiered approach that ultimately converts to that traditional MLS listing that, is sort of the norm.
Right.
At the same time, though, I don't think any of us could predict what opportunities would be created if we had that many Cutler exclusive listings coming through as the first touch point in the first marketing step.
And I think that's exactly it. I think you hit the nail on the head, because we are seeing more and more, and maybe it's more so on the premium listing side, other agents reaching out to us and saying, do you have a buyer for this? Do you have a buyer for that? And there's another brokerage in town that advertised that they did over 50 off-market transactions last year. And you said we did 2,000 total transactions, whatever. I wonder how many of those were off-market. Probably very few, but I think there's an opportunity to do even more of this. It's just an opportunity because it's becoming more and more of a thing in the marketplace.
Well, and the other thing that I think, because, there is a lot of question about, are we going to get in trouble? Am I allowed to show them? There's a lot of misinformation among the brokerage community. And what I like about using Cutler exclusives as a standard of practice is it creates that, once again, that consistency where our clients are getting the same consumer experience, the same listing experience, the same experience across the board. And that comes back to that idea that we were talking about off mic about informed consent.
Right.
And I've believed for a long time that this notion that only on MLS marketing is going to maximize seller value is complete bunk. It's a complete misnomer.
I got a good one for you on that.
Okay, let's hear it.
We had a listing that a girl I used to work with at Abercrombie in retail. She came to us and she said, I have a rental in Westerville. It's a condo. And she said, the issue is I have a tenant in there. She's going to be there until April 1st. We want to start, put this thing on the market, but she's like, there's work that needs to be done. We need to get photos taken. We need to put it up on the MLS. Like, this thing might not go live until May because we need a month to maybe get this thing ready to go. And we're like, what if we tried the office exclusive or the broker exclusive idea? We posted it on Cutler, the Cutler Connect exclusive listings page, as we are going to list this property. The tenant went out of town for a weekend. We showed it to multiple Cutler agents. Turns out we got multiple offers and went over the list price. The crazy part was, I forget the exact numbers, but let's say we were going to list it at $350. If they did the work, we were going to list it at $360. We said, the seller actually said, what if we listed at $365 on your exclusive page? I think we got $368.5. And they got their money April 1st. And they wouldn't even have been on the market yet. So that was a strategy where we maximized their return. We had 1 weekend of open houses or showings.
Minimize their disruption.
And the tenant was already out of town, so it didn't affect them at all because they didn't want to put them out. They didn't have to do all the work that we had discussed them doing to try to get the top dollar. And and we got multiple offers over asking price. I think we did better by doing office exclusive or broker exclusive than we would have done on the MLS.
Yeah.
So sometimes that can be a good strategy.
You know, and that's the thing. I think this all or nothing mentality of, well, no, you have to maximize the exposure. You have to do all that. Well, we know that in most cases, maximizing the exposure is going to create the most competition. But, you know, it comes back to what you said. What is the seller's motivation?
Right.
You know, and that informed consent, if the seller understands, because they're working with a professional, because the professional is explaining all of their options, and the seller is confident to move forward with a strategy, understanding that there are other options out there, and they're satisfied with the result, then ultimately I feel like we've done our job from a fiduciary standpoint.
Exactly right.
So, you know, give me a couple other examples of maybe not price. You know, we always think, okay, well, we're going to be able to maximize price as an office exclusive. But have you had any examples where you've been able to successfully, generate a sale for sellers that may not have been comfortable with the condition, or maybe didn't have the money to bring their condition up to, you know, being ready for market?
Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of alluding to this client before, but we had a client who the house was super outdated. She'd updated the mechanicals of the house, the roof, a lot of the things in the house that are high ticket items that you don't necessarily get the payback for, right? Still had wallpaper on the walls. She was a smoker. She had cats. I mean, the house didn't smell great. And she said to us, nobody's going to want my house. And I kind of don't want showings. I kind of don't want open houses. And
that's the thing that you want to hear going into your first listing presentation, right?
Yeah, we're like, well, we could come up with a strategy to actually sell your house and make this as easy as possible, and we did. And so I think that there's definitely ways to do that. Advertise the house in as-is condition. Say the seller's really not open to work on the home, but we're going to price it competitively. And that was a situation where she was like, I'm moving to Florida. I want to get out of here. I just want to sell this house. And we said, let's make it happen, and let's do it as easy as possible. So it's definitely a strategy to use as well, where it's just a convenience thing.
Tell me a little bit about your client that you and Susie are working with right now that are relocating to Arizona.
Yeah, so that's one that we put on the exclusive listings in the last week or two. They're moving to Arizona in May. We've had a listing appointment with them. We've talked through all the details, the timeline, the marketing strategy, all of the things. We have not had professional photos done yet because there's work that's being done. They're getting their floors refinished. They're going to do some paint touch-ups. But I already put it on the exclusive listings. And I've already had agents reaching out to me about this house. When can we see it? When's it going on market? Because it's an attractive, it's a ranch home. It's very open floor plan. Got a large basement. You know, it's a great house. They've added on to it. They've updated the kitchen. They're just kind of pushing this thing to the finish line, but we're still marketing it while they do all that work. And so once that work starts to get done, we might show it off market. We might get an offer before it ever goes to MLS. We don't know what's going to happen. But we've been sharing with other agents. We had an agent reach out the other day and said, do you have any ranches coming inside 270? Or, in the, not Upper Arlington schools, but outside in Columbus schools. They don't care about the schools. They're older couple, whatever. Do you have anything coming? We're like, actually, we do. Here it is. It's coming maybe as early as April or May, depending on when this work gets done. But there's a chance we might be able to get you in ahead of time. We'll keep you posted on what that looks like. We're already talking about the property months in advance before that thing goes on the market. And I think the sellers were like, what value, they were grilling us in this listing point, like, what value do you add? And we said, well, one of the first things is we talked about our marketing strategy. We talked about you get 2 agents for the price of 1. We talk about here's our steps, here's our process. We're going to market your house from day 1. And they're like, well, no agents are doing that. We talked to other agents, they're not marketing your house from day 1. They're not going to market it until April, May. And we're like, but maybe that's why we got the listing. It's because we're doing all of this ahead of time, and it sets us apart.
Well, and you talked about your time in retail and with a marketing degree and a marketing background. That consistency in your approach, regardless of price point, is a competitive advantage. But that's just another example how you and Susie are articulating your value. Because I mean, candidly, there's probably quite a few people tuned in today that would have a really hard time when a seller asks directly, what do you bring to the table? What value do you bring to this?
Right.
And I think it's a testament to your approach, and we'll talk a little bit about your success in 2025, incorporating, Cutler exclusives for every one of your listings. But, if you're struggling, if agents are struggling to articulate their value, incorporating a multi-tiered marketing plan and having the confidence. I imagine it's a huge confidence booster for you and Susie
absolutely.
to go into pretty much any listing presentation and be able to say, not only do we have a comprehensive marketing plan, but we're prepared to market your property not a month from now, not a week from now, today.
Exactly right. And so in college, in marketing classes, we used to talk about widgets. It's not what you're selling, it's how you're selling it. And I think if you take that approach of how are we selling it, what's the approach that we're taking, and you can replicate that and repeat it over and over again, you're going to get the best results. And I think that's a big thing. It's like we take some of the principles, Susie worked in retail as well, and we take a lot of the things we've learned in retail and apply it to real estate. Because again, you're selling things to consumers at the end of the day. It's as simple as that. It's not clothes, it's houses, and houses just happen to be the largest investment that most of us make in our lives. But at the same time, it's selling at the end of the day. And fundamentally, there's not a lot of difference between selling clothes versus selling houses.
Do you think you're selling houses, or do you think you're selling your expertise, your services, your ability, your brand?
Yeah, and I think that's another big piece, Andy, because when we worked at Abercrombie & Fitch, they taught us so much about our branding, about their branding. They're like, the stores have to look the same. The customer who walks into a store at Easton has to be the exact same experience as somebody who walks into the store on the East Coast. And you want to replicate that over and over and over again. And that's kind of what was really hammered into our heads, is like, the stores need to look the same, they need to smell the same, they need to feel the same, they need to have that same experience so that they're not having a different experience in one store versus another. And if you take that same approach to houses, right? Every listing we have, we take the same approach, whether it's 200 or 2 million, it doesn't really matter to us. I think at the end of the day, it's not about selling the more expensive house and getting the bigger commission check. It's about helping the family and helping the person transition to their next place.
Well, and it's funny when you really focus on the consumers and you help them achieve their goals, how the money typically falls into place.
That's exactly it. And when we set our goals at the beginning of the year, we don't set them and say, hey, we want to hit X sales or X commission. We said we want to help X number of clients or X number of people. We want to help that many families make that transition, because that's why we're doing it. That's why we're passionate about what we do, is helping people. And if you take that kind of customer first approach, you're right, the rest of it falls in line.
So let's shift gears a little bit here. I want to talk a little bit about industry relationships and kind of being the leader in the co-broke community. Do you think that utilizing Cutler exclusives hurts relationships within the co-broke community or with other agents?
Not at all. Helps. Again, it goes back to
tell me a little more about
collaboration, right? It's about collaboration. And I think when you think about collaborating with top agents and not competing with top agents, it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference in your mentality, right? Mindset, skill set, action. And I think if you take that positive approach and say, hey, look, we have a great listing coming and we're going to start sharing with other top agents, and then they're going to start sharing with their buyers. That's the best fiduciary duty to our sellers, to make sure we do that. And again, I think I said it earlier, the more we share with other agents, the more they share with us. It's reciprocal. I think that's a huge piece of it, is the bigger network we can build with other agents. Your network is your net worth. The better the results are going to be.
Well, and I think it's interesting. I think it's really interesting, something you just said, because I think when you look at the co-broke community as your competition, that's when
you hold things tight to the belt.
And you're not putting your client first.
Exactly.
That collaboration and among the most professional realtors, among people that you work with, and let's face it, we're still going to be in a marketplace where 80% of the business is done by 20% of the realtors.
80-20 rule.
Yep. And you and I talked, off mic about it would be an interesting exercise for everybody listening in today to go back in 2025 and look at how many different agents sold your listings, because I think it's going to be a pretty small group.
You're going to have repeats.
You are going to have repeats,
right.
and you're going to see it. And so those repeat collaborators, they're going to be the ones that you really want to double down on expanding your network with, both within Cutler and outside of Cutler in 2026 and beyond.
Absolutely.
And those that are of a scarcity mindset, they're going to be looking at holding things back or gatekeeping access to listings, not because they're working for their customer, but because they want to hold on to commissions.
Right. Exactly right.
And I think that's where, I personally think that's where you see this breakdown. And I think that's a worry sometimes, because I know many of our realtors at Cutler have been burnt, in the past. So you always have that kind of well, I'm competing, but I'm also cooperating, and that level of trust. And I think for those of us that are ninjas, we always want to work from a place of abundance, and we always want to work from a place of helping our client achieve their goals. So I love the word collaboration. I wrote it down because I think that's a great mindset in terms of the approach to Cutler exclusives and how we're best serving our sellers.
It's info sharing, right? It's like when something comes down from the board of realtors, a new form or a new process. It's like we're always talking about it, right? As a brokerage, we're coming up with new ways to attack, or coming up with a new form or whatever it might be, a new strategy, especially in the last couple of years, right? As things have been changing. But it's info sharing. It's no different than really saying, I've got a listing coming and I want everyone to know about it. And again, I just harken back to, how would you sell your own house? And what steps would you take? And if you take that same strategy to every listing, then that's what's going to happen.
So why do you think agents are resistant to employing exclusive listing strategy?
I think there's some misnomers out there, and I wanted to address those. I think number one is and I've heard from doing other masterminds that it's like, well, I'm already posting my house on the MLS. This feels like a double work or an extra step that I have to take. And it's really not. I think if you look at the exclusive listings template that's out there on Cutler Connect, there's, I think, 4 or 5 fields that are required. You can put a photo in from the auditor's site or Google Earth or a snapshot that you took maybe at a listing appointment. You don't have to have professional photos. Like I said, we don't have professional photos of that one that's coming in May. And I think you put in the information that you want. I think another thing, kind of a tip is, like, we might have a German Village listing. German Village address is Columbus. But in that, you don't have a drop down of what city this house is in. I always put it in German Village. So when that email goes out to other agents and you click notifications, you got to click notifications because that's what triggered that email to be sent out to all of the Cutler agents. And they get in the subject line, this is like George has, submitted a broker exclusive, whatever. Here's the address in the subject line. It'll say German Village. It won't say Columbus because Columbus is huge. I mean, it could be anywhere.
Sure.
But if I put German Village, which isn't a mailing address, or Upper Arlington's technically not a mailing address, but I always use those areas to say this is where my listing is, because that is going to attract somebody else at Cutler to open that email and click on that link.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because I think what I've observed is sometimes people look at the forms in Cutler Connect for exclusive listings and they think they have to follow the same rules as the MLS.
No, definitely not.
And that's this is an internal broadcasting system, so you have complete control over access, you have complete control over how you present it.
Correct.
And really this is not going to be the place where you want to spend the time describing it. You want to be almost as general as possible, but specific in location.
Correct.
So that you can generate interest as opposed to posting something on Cutler Connect that's MLS ready.
Right, exactly right. Yeah, when you post on MLS, you need a description, you need all your photography, your drone shots, your 3D tours, the floor plans, you need all that stuff. But on exclusive listings, you don't need any of that.
Right.
And the description, a lot of times we say 4 beds, 2.5 baths in Upper Arlington schools across from the park.
Right.
Simple as that. And people are like, oh, this is great. This is a good location. I'm familiar with Upper Arlington. I've got a buyer looking for 4 beds in Upper Arlington. It needs to be simple as just an alert that this house is coming. And if somebody reaches out, another Cutler agent reaches out about the property, we can have a conversation with our seller about, do we let them in or do we not? There was one we had in Bexley earlier this year. We posted it on the exclusive listings. We had a couple different Cutler agents reach out about seeing it ahead of time, and we let a couple of them in. We were like, we're not accepting offers ahead of time. And I know Kim Mills had one in UA, same thing, where she was allowing access to the home, but she's like, we're not going to accept any offers until it goes to market. That's perfectly fine too. So it can be a hybrid approach. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing, where you're like, we either allow showings or we don't. We do allow offers or we don't. It can be whatever we want to do. It's giving your seller options.
Well, and you talked about an example with another co-broke that had a listing coming up for one of your buyers, and said, well, no, I can't give you, I have all the proper paperwork signed. Yeah. It's a broker exclusive, but I can't give you access.
Yeah. He said, I can only show it to other agents in my brokerage. I said, I think that's actually incorrect. So what happened was they put an offer on a listing that we had. And it was going to be contingent on their home sale. I said, well, where's the house?
Sure.
And they were like, up Arlington. I'm like, we have buyers in Upper Arlington all the time. This was a Worthington listing that we had. And I said, well, what's the price? Can you share any info? We shared some photos. And I said, well, we've got a buyer that would love to see that house today. I mean, they're ready to go. They've been looking for a while. We're ready to go. He said, sure, go ahead and book the listing or book the showing. And I booked it. And as I was driving to the house, he called me. It's like, we're actually not able to show you the house. And I said, well, there's no sign in the yard. It's not coming soon.
Sure.
You said you have the paperwork signed. I don't know if you do or you don't, but I don't see why we shouldn't be able to see it. I mean, I was heading over there with my client at the time. And he said, well, my broker said I can't show it to you. You can see it if you make a curb offer. And if that curb offer is accepted, then you can see the home. And I was like, that's not what we talk about here at Cutler, and that's not how we operate. And I think that there was a missed opportunity for them.
Well, and it's, there's two things that are huge red flags for me. Number one, it goes against all the guidance that NAR and even post-settlement and everything it has updated in terms of clear cooperation as recently as, last fall at the NAR annual meeting, talking about networking on a one-off basis is not marketing.
I think that's the key distinction, right? That we talk about marketing versus networking.
Right. And going back to that whole analog system. But the other thing that's a huge red flag is, once again, to me, that's a violation of that agent and broker's fiduciary responsibility to that seller, because you've already shown that you've proven that there's a ready, willing, and able buyer, and the jeopardy and the potential risk of requesting or requiring a curb offer in those situations, right. Contingent on a successful viewing or whatever you want to put together in terms of the terms of that, it is the opposite of what's in the best interest of the seller.
Exactly.
And I think, and that's from my perspective, I think one of the bigger challenges that we're going to face here in 2026 is just a lot of the misinformation that's still, out there. And we talk about it all the time. You have to have clarity to move forward. And hopefully today, and, George's experience and everything that we've talked about is going to provide a little more clarity for Cutler agents. But I still think we're going to have some challenges among the co-broke community.
We got to take down those roadblocks. And I think that there's some people out there that are just like, I'm not going to do the extra step. I'm not going to put in the extra time. I'm not going to go through the process. And I really don't see a downside.
Yeah.
I really don't see a downside to sellers, buyers, or other agents. I think it's a win across the board.
So we've talked here for about the last 40 minutes about you being passionate about this. So if you had a closing thought or goal for all Cutler Realtors listening today, what would it be?
Yeah, I think it's make it a best practice. Send over the exclusive, buyer broker waiver form. Get it signed when you get the exclusive right to sell paperwork done. Start marketing that house from day one. Put it on the exclusive list. Try it. Put it on the exclusive listings. Susie Stepanovich has a tutorial that you can watch on how to do it, but it's very self-explanatory, very straightforward. But put it on there. See what happens. Try it out. I think that's my biggest thing. And I would tell you that we had 23 listings last year. Every single one of them we put on the Cutler exclusive listings page. Every single one. It's part of our process. 18 of those 23 listings sold in the first week on the market, if they made it to market. We had some that didn't make it to market, as that Westerville condo that I mentioned.
Yeah.
But if they made it to market, 18 out of the 23 sold in the first week, and our average time on market was 2 weeks across the board, whether it's on the exclusive listings or on the MLS or when it got to that point. But our average was 2 weeks on the market for those 23 listings, and the Columbus average is over a month, 30 plus days. So to say that to somebody in a listing appointment and say that 78% of our listings win contract in the first week and our average time on market is 2 weeks, this is why you use us and not another agent, because the Columbus market is 30 plus.
And that's an incredible stat, because you guys, you and Susie already run your business so well, and you guys are top professionals. But it makes me so excited to see actual proof that a marketing strategy and a platform that we have to offer had such a huge impact. Mm-hmm. And it's not to say, and I love that, I wrote this down, try it, because you guys would have gotten those listings sold anyway, but you don't know what other opportunities may or may not have been created had you not followed the Cutler exclusive strategy.
And I think to flip that 1 second is, we've talked a lot about doing this on the listing side and putting the exclusive listing on Cutler Connect. But we have had instances where it has come in huge for our buyers. And I just want to touch on 2 examples that we've had recently, because I've talked about a lot of the selling ones and getting feedback on price and product, basically. And that is, we had a buyer moving here from Indianapolis to Columbus. She used to live in Columbus. She's from the area, but she relocated to Indy, coming back to Columbus. And she identified one singular neighborhood that she wanted to live in. It was in Powell. Stephanie Price had a listing that she posted on there that was in that neighborhood. And I think her seller was maybe a little older, didn't want to update the house, or didn't want to be inconvenienced on getting out of there, shared it with us. We went in there, put in an offer at list price. They got it, not competitive. And they got the house that they were looking for. It's a needle in a haystack situation, because that neighborhood that that house was in, I think there was only 2 or 3 homes that sold in the last year. So we didn't know when these homes were coming on the market. It should be any time, but it also might not be for a while. But when she posted one, we got in there, got exclusive access to it, and got them in contract. And now they're in that home. It's their dream home. We had another one where clients were getting discouraged about the market because they're in Upper Arlington. Budget was up to 800, and they were looking at home after home. Every single thing that went on the market between 6 and 800, they were there. We were looking at every single one of these homes, and it wasn't a ton. But every single one of them wasn't the right fit. It was on a busy road. It wasn't updated. It was, whatever reason, it wasn't a good fit. Cutler agent reaches out, says she has one coming at 775 in a great area south of Lane. We saw it. I don't know if anyone else saw it. Not sure. We went in there, put in a full price offer, got the home, and our clients are like, this is the exact home. We never would have gotten this home if we were working with you and Susie. That's like, that's the feedback that we want from our clients, right? Sure. Is to have that access to listings that nobody else does. It sets us apart.
And it goes back to what we started the conversation about, where so many people think that exclusive inventory is about double siding a deal or maximizing commission, but very few people talk about access to inventory on the buy side.
Correct.
And once again, if we are, as a company, leveraging exclusive listings as a business rule, then our buyers that we're actively working with, are going to have access to inventory faster and candidly, more than any other brokerage out there.
Yeah. I think my challenge for all Cutler agents would be, like you said, try it, put one on there, see what happens. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine. But I think if you try it and you get a positive result, you'll be more likely to keep doing it and make it part of your process.
Yeah, I agree.
Pre-market market strategy.
Is there anything else that you want to share today?
No, I mean, I think this has been a great conversation. I think the biggest thing, and why I wanted to come on here today, is to expose people to exclusive listings, give them real life examples of why it works, how it works. And these barriers to entry really aren't barriers. These are things that are easily overcome with a quick signature on a form that you're already sending on forms. Get one more signature. You're already going to post your listing on the MLS. So why not go through way less steps and post it on the exclusive listings ahead of time? It's just a win-win. And I think we talked about seller wins, buyer wins, and just collaborating with other agents. It's really broadening your network and giving your fiduciary duties to your sellers, giving them the best chance to sell their house at the best price.
Well, and for those of us that are looking for that competitive edge in a listing presentation, having an option of a multi-tiered marketing system is going to differentiate and set yourself apart, especially if you can go in there with confidence, knowing that you are going to get all of the agents at Cutler Real Estate's eyeballs on those listings. You do have the ability to start marketing a property day one,
right?
Regardless of price, regardless of condition. It's a really, really powerful approach, and it is here to stay.
That's right. And it's only becoming bigger,
yeah,
bigger and bigger. Last thing I would say is, I know Claire Capano used to always say, like, you could be like, I think it's like a Pop-Tart agent. Like, when the call comes, you hop up, you do what you're supposed to do. Whack-a-mole, whatever. Same kind of thing. And I think one thing we used to talk about in retail is, you can ride your business, Andy, or you can drive your business. And I think by doing these things like broker exclusives and exclusive listings, you're driving your business. You're giving your clients the best chance to sell their house. And the exclusive listings is something that should be in everyone's toolbox. To really drive your business, you need to look at it from all angles and give your clients as many options as possible, again, to get the best result.
Well, at Cutler Real Estate, our philosophy has always been simple. The right strategy depends on the seller, the property and the moment, not on industry pressures or industry norms. Exclusive listings and off-market or off-MLS marketing aren't about hiding homes or limiting opportunity. When we use responsible marketing, they're all about creating leverage, protecting privacy, and most important, fulfilling our fiduciary duty to our sellers. George, thank you so much for being the guinea pig.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully this has been fun. It's been fun for me. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and thanks to everybody behind the scenes to make our first successful Unlocking Real Estate podcast the success that it's been. So thank you guys. See you next month.